I thought that honestly, only going to the dentist was the only option you had. I came across somebody that was trying to give me temporary for 5 years. Then they would give me my permanent. And I'm like, doesn't make any sense. Why am I going to go and spend all this money? I'm going to get temporaries and telling me they can break. It wasn't worth it to me at that point. Let me see what else is out there.
Today, I'm joined by Michael, who's had his full mouth dental implants for almost 6 months. And today, he's here to share 3 things he wishes he knew before getting them. That way, you'll have a better idea of what to expect before making your decision. Are you ready to talk about it, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's do it. So the first thing we talked about was you wish you knew sooner that dental implants can actually save you money in the long run. And people might be a little bit confused by that statement, but let's back it up. Whenever you went to the dentist previously to fix your teeth, what options did they give you?
I mean, they always want to repair your teeth, so it was always going to be root canals. And by the time I really got going and by my teeth were being so bad, it was like $20,000 plus that I was going to have to invest in my mouth.
Wow. And so that was going to be like kind of a tooth by tooth thing, or what were they really saying they were going to do?
Tooth by tooth. It was just going to be root canal after root canal after root canal. And then I just felt like I was going to need to continue to upkeep it. It didn't make sense.
And whenever you heard those options, what concerns did you have about continuing treatment that way?
I was like, okay, I spend the $20,000 and I still take care of the teeth. But then what happens if something fails and then I lose the whole tooth altogether? And then I lose the root canal and everything else with it. So by the time I'm done, I'm spending double the amount. It wasn't worth it to me at that point.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. So when did you actually start thinking that, hey, this might actually not be the cheaper option, even though dental implants, seem to be a lot up front? I guess what was your thought process looking at dental implants?
I mean, I didn't even know that it existed. So leaving the dentist office, I just went and started researching and found out there was things out there, but I really wasn't too concerned about the money part of it because at the end of the day, I had an unhealthy mouth and I was going to spend all this money at the dentist. So the two never made sense. And I just always considered to go down another route.
Right. And dental implants, did it seem more like a, permanent solution for you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I felt like one and done. I mean, you got to take care of it. Don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near taking care of your regular teeth.
And did that ever surprise you that, like, hey, even something that seems maybe more expensive could actually help me in the long run compared to these options? Like, were you surprised by that initially?
Um, yes. I mean, I really was. I thought that honestly, only going to the dentist was the only option you had. So when I started to research it and I started seeing different things, I'm like, okay, well, there is more than just dentures. So that's what kind of where it all started.
Right. And you've had your dental implants now for like almost 6 months. Have you had any issues or concerns about them like lasting?
No, I think they're strong. They look really realistic. Like now I show my mouth to people, so it's really weird. I've never done that probably most of my life. So now I show people and they can't even tell. Honestly, like they look so real.
Absolutely. I mean, I if you didn't tell me that you had it done, I would never have guessed, honestly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it when the first time I seen him, I was blown away. I was like, I cannot believe that I have a whole set of teeth again.
Absolutely. I could imagine. I could imagine. And before we move on, if y'all are curious on, all right, well, how much is dental implants anyways? Make sure to download the dental implant cost guide in the description below. It will give you more insight to what that could look like for you. Well, let's move on to the second thing you wish you knew before getting this done, which is not all dental implant providers have the same level of experience. And I'm really curious about this. So, when you were looking into maybe different places or doing your research, what did you notice about maybe the difference in, experience levels that there were out there?
I noticed right on that there were other places that say they do dental implants, but upon research more, most of these places are only doing a weekend course. And then on Monday, they're coming right to work and they're starting to do implants on you. So it just didn't make sense that way either. I was like, okay, why am I going to go to a place that doesn't do this all the time?
And why did the experience level of the provider matter to you when making your decision?
I mean, it's very important because it's an important procedure. It's your mouth, so to go to a place that may be winging it or not doing this every day, um, for me, I wanted a big smile. These doctors that are board certified, they have nurse in there. There's people there tending to you while the whole procedure is being done. So that was very much the most important thing for me is having the right people in the procedure with me.
Totally, that makes sense. And what made you feel confident that Nuvia specifically was the place that, hey, I trust these people to get the job done?
Well, I went to a consultation prior to Nuvia, and I came across somebody that was trying to give me temporaries for like 5 years. And then all after that 5 years, after I paid everything, then they would give me my permanent. So after upon leaving, I started to think, and I'm like, doesn't make any sense. Why am I gonna go and spend all this money? I'm gonna get temporaries and telling me they can break, and I gotta go back to the temporaries and all this stuff. Let me see what else is out there. So I continued to research and came across Nui, and I started researching it. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Okay, let me find out more about this. What else can they do? And that's when I made the consultation, and from there it was truly an easy choice.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk more about that then. You were told, "Hey, you might be in temps," which is like basically plastic for years
Right.
till you get to get your permanent. So what was different about Nuvia's timeline, that made you be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this."
First of all, they offer you teeth in 24 hours, and you can eat soft foods throughout the 4 months. So those two things in itself was very important. I couldn't believe that I went from one day having bad teeth, all my teeth out, and then all of a sudden now I have a whole new set of teeth. I was just like blown away. I was like, holy cow, but just the 24-hour part of it was just blew me away. I was like, how could you get teeth in 24 hours? How's that possible?
Well, let's dive more into this because that's kind of the third thing you wanna talk about is what you wish you knew before is that, hey, this process was actually maybe easier and faster than you had anticipated. So talk more about maybe what you were expecting going in, maybe pain and recovery wise versus what you actually did experience.
I didn't really have too much pain. I didn't know what to expect. I never had that many teeth taken out at one time, but honestly, a little bit of swelling, which is expected, and maybe a little discomfort, but really nothing crazy. But that once again that's just me.
And how long do you think it took for you to kind of, for swelling to go down and for this discomfort to go away? How long was the recovery for you?
I would say 7 days. The mouth started to feel more normal. I mean, it felt weird. Don't get me wrong, because in my case, I was missing teeth my whole life, so I never ate normal. So now I'm like in rehabilitation. I'm learning how to use my mouth again. It's really weird.
I mean, I can imagine. Like, what's maybe one of the biggest struggles you've had, kind of getting used to them?
I would say because I had such problems on the left side of my mouth, I would only eat on the right. So now when I only want to go to the right, I don't want to use my whole mouth anymore. So it's weird. I got to get used to knowing I can use my whole mouth now. I can eat, bake. I could really start ripping. I'm still babying him then for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I've never heard anybody tell me I've had perfect teeth in my life. So to hear these things, I don't know what it is, but like I'm taking a different approach to my teeth now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can imagine, I mean, having, a lifetime of, stuff happening in your mouth and now having a full set, like, it makes sense to why you're not gonna really get used to it right away, right? And I've talked to so many patients that have gotten this done too that that's common, It's this kind of foreign object in your mouth at first, and slowly it starts to, you start to get used to it. So, I'd say that's common.
I would say at the 5.5 month mark right now, they feel normal.
Wow.
Feels good. I can eating feels normal. Like they feel like they're my teeth, even though they're not connected to nerves or nothing. It's not they're just prosthetics.
Would you ever have thought that would be the case?
Emily, you have no idea. I I've been dealing with my teeth since a young man, and to know there's an option out there, and I'm sure a lot of people get hemmed up on the money part. Can't look at it as the money part. You got to look at it like a healthy confidence. Yeah, if you're a person that has a confidence issue with your teeth, you will definitely gain confidence. I didn't have a problem with confidence. I was more concerned about my health and being having longevity with my family. That was the most important thing for me. So once I went into the office, I was probably in the consultation room probably like 5 minutes because I didn't need to ask them any questions. I didn't need to. There was nothing to know. Just tell me, uh, give me the financing option, and then we could go from there. And that's kind of where I was. You should do your due diligence. I say to people, go in, look at other podcasts, look at other people's stories, and you should have no problem making a conscious decision on your next move.
Right. I love that. You're just like, "Oh, all right, I'm ready. Let's do it."
Yeah, my wife was like, let's do it. I'm like, dude, you get tired. It gets tiring after a while. And you know what? I was like, I'm not doing this no more. Like I'm 44 years old. I might as well go through all this stuff now. And then when I'm older, I don't have this issue and I don't have to deal with my teeth, because when you're older, you want to have a peaceful life. I don't want to go through a mouth surgery and remove teeth and put fake teeth in my 70s. I probably wouldn't even do it, to be honest with you. But it was a no-brainer. My family's happy. People at work can't believe it. They really don't believe they're fake. They think they're my real teeth.
Wow, that's amazing. And you did mention, one of the reasons you wanted to get this done is because of your health. Can you kind of talk about the changes that you've seen in your health since getting this done?
Yeah, I've had abscess so bad. One time I was 18 years old, I had an abscess. It got into like my sinuses, got into my eye. It started swelling up. I had to go to like an emergency dentist. They had to cut the abscess, squeeze all the pus out. It was unbelievable. And then do a root canal right after it. So I've done almost anything you could think of in a dentist, and it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't ever want to experience that again. I want to have a good, clean mouth, healthy. My gums were getting eaten away by decay. I was losing bone loss probably. There was probably so many things going on in my mouth that it was just too much. And then you got to ask yourself, where do you want to cut your losses? Like I said, I never knew this existed. It really blows my mind still to this day that that they're able to do something like this.
Would you say you have, that peace of mind now that you have gone through with it?
I don't even think about my teeth anymore. Honestly, it's like I went from 15 or 16 missing teeth all over my mouth, and rotten uh, wisdom teeth have been pulled out. So, you know, I don't know, I don't want to do that. I've already been through enough. That's it. And to be honest with you, you're not saving money in the long run. You go to the dentist will be more than happy to take money at the end of the day. And with Nuvia, I felt like a family right away. I felt very accepted in there. And everybody's so nice and willing to help and go above and beyond. So for me, it was like, okay, I know I'm in the perfect place.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. I do have to ask, have you had to pay any more money than you were quoted at first from Nuvia? Like, has there been any hidden costs down the line or anything you didn't expect?
No hidden costs. They have great financing options. I will tell you right now. I mean, the consultant couldn't believe, what I was approved for. If I had to tell somebody one thing, don't worry about the money part of it. Don't worry about it. Because at the end of the day, it's more important about how you feel and your health. That's the most important thing. Money's money. We need it. We need to live, but your health is more important. So I would just tell somebody, if you can and you're on the cusp, make that consultation and go in there and listen to them and just see what they say. I will guarantee you that they're going to make you feel right at home, and you'll know right away that you're in the right place because this is all they did.
Exactly. Well, I think that's great advice. And also for those watching out there, if you're wondering, how are people actually affording this? You can check out my interview with Bishop that I did right over here. He breaks down exactly what made it work for him. And if you're curious what this might cost you, again, check out that dental implant cost guide in the description below.